So Eric, we have an example of an alpaca packraft here now. Could you walk our viewers through the items we're seeing here? The boat's inflated, things like that.
Yeah, so this is obviously the Packraft in its inflated state. This particular model is one of Alpaca's newer designs. It's called the Refuge. It's really meant for big, long landscape traverses. It packs down really small and it only weighs about 5.5 pounds. But as you can see, it's fully equipped with a whitewater deck. You wear it with a spray skirt around you to keep the water out. Got an inflatable backrest and a little seat here. And really, it's a great boat for crossing big landscapes. Not necessarily a whitewater performer, but definitely opens up a lot of possibilities without the bulk and weight of some of the more burly or capable packrafts.
What is this here?
Yeah, so this is what's called a cargo fly, a tie zipper, which is airproof and waterproof. Can be opened, obviously, when the boat is in a deflated state because it provides access to the interior of the hull and allows you to store your cargo inside the boat. So while you're paddling, there's no longer a need to have a big pack strapped to the front of the boat, as was the case or was common in the past. Now you can store your gear inside the boat, and I'm going to demonstrate that later when I show how to pack the boat, how to inflate the boat, deflate, and pack up.
So if once I'm paddling, that can't be opened. Is that
correct? Yeah, as soon as you open this, it actually provides access to the entire single inner chamber of the boat, and all the air will rush out. So again, it is important that you maintain that carefully because it is a potential failure point. But the benefits gained by having this option for storing your gear inside the boat far and away exceed any additional risk you encounter by having that.
And this here is how the boat is inflated.
Yeah, so this is the valve, and what Alpaca calls this the temper assist valve. So you can see I open the valve up and the air doesn't start rushing out. That's because it has what's called a temper assist. There's actually a little gate in there that's closed by the pressure of the air inside the boat. In order to deflate the boat, you actually have to turn this clockwise. You can hear the air start to rush out. And when you turn it counterclockwise, it engages that temper assist valve and the air pressure inside forces it out. Now, it's totally normal for this to seep air a little bit under certain circumstances, especially when the pressure inside the boat isn't really high. And that's because it's actually the cap that keeps the air inside the boat, not really the temper assist valve. And you'll see in here, there's a little rubber O-ring. It's really important that you have that in there and that doesn't fall out. I always have one inside at least one inside my repair kit, and I'll cover what's in my repair kit in a while, but this is really important to have in there because that's what actually creates the seal on the valve and keeps the air in.
So let's circle back for those who are newer to the sport and wrapping their head around this. This is basically mode of transportation that is completely deflated and stored in your pack. You carry it across the landscape. You then re-inflate it in the wild. You slide your gear inside of it, and you're able to paddle across bodies of water.
Yeah, it's just an inflatable boat that allows you to incorporate the blue lines and blue shapes on the map and travel across those or use those as highways. Again, like I like to say, a lot of the blue lines on the map now become trails because rather than getting to the river and treating it like it's an obstacle, boom, you take your boat out of the pack, blow it up, now you can float down the river. And it really just increases your flexibility with respect to how you can travel across the landscape, and it gives you new route options and allows creativity with route design.
So what's this one?
So this is the Alpaca Wolverine. This boat's a little bit bigger than that one, as you can see. It's also made with a slightly burlier tube material. And that's because this is really a whitewater centric boat. And you can already see it looks very different, not just from its hull shape, but also because it lacks that whitewater deck. And the reason this can be a whitewater boat without a whitewater deck is because it has holes in the bottom. And this is what's called a self bailer. So what happens is when water comes over the hull of the boat into the cockpit, it can actually wash out through those holes. It goes down through the side here and out the holes. So you can sit here in the boat on this seat and stay above the water line. There'd be a little bit of water down here, a little bit of water down here. But it's a cool way to paddle whitewater without having to worry about the spray deck and messing with that. Actually, it's a little bit lighter not having the spray deck and the spray skirt.
How much lighter is it?
So this compared to a decked boat, you save about a half a pound. The other whitewater specific feature you see here that's not on the Refuge are these thigh straps. And these are 4-point patented thigh straps. Alpaca is the only one who makes them this way. And what these do is they actually allow you to strap your knees, essentially securing them to the hull of the boat. And what that does is it gives you the opportunity to control the boat by using your hips and your legs, and just gives you better connection to the boat. And you experience this in a whitewater whitewater kayak, because obviously your legs are inside the shell of the boat and your knees are in contact with the inside of the shell of the boat. But this is a really unique and lightweight way to increase and improve the whitewater performance of some of Alpaca's boats.
So based on that, what class of whitewater could you run a Packraft up to?
Oh, there's guys out there running remote class 5, waterfalls. So, it's really
there is no prohibition regarding if anyone can run it in a boat, you can run it in a Packraft. There's no prohibition.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say that Packrafts perform the same way or equivalently to a hard shell boat. They certainly have their limitations. But while Packrafts may present performance limitations as compared to a hard shell kayak, they also afford a lot of opportunities to access whitewater that might not be accessible with a
blue line on the map.
It's a trade-off,
Got it.
I mean, not everybody's out there running class 5 with this stuff. I've regularly run class 4, and I've commonly said that my boat's capabilities have not yet been the limiting factor. I just not really interested personally in running class 5 in a Packraft especially. But Alpaca is really the leader in the research and design, and they have some amazing boats, even that I don't have here, that are just outrageously capable in whitewater.
Now, what's this big boy here? What's this one?
Yeah, so this is another one of Alpaca's models. This is as you can see, even bigger. This one's a tandem. This is called the Forager. Again, a self-bailer. You can see it doesn't have a deck, and if you flip it over. Yeah, so as you can see, this is the self-bailer. It has the holes on the floor of the boat, which will allow the water to pass through. So it actually has an inflatable floor, which separates from the boat, can be carried separately. So if you've got 2 people sharing a forager, you can remove the seat, remove the floor, remove the bow bag, give it to your partner. One person can carry the hull, one person can carry the rest, and you can divide up the weight that way. The seat, obviously, like I said, is removable, and it all packs down pretty small. This material is even more burly than the material the Wolverine is made out of. This is 420 denier, whereas that's a 210 denier. So you can actually pump this up even to a higher pressure. But it's cool. It's a really capable boat. It moves surprisingly fast for what seems like a really big, burly boat, even on flat water. And it's capable of pretty big whitewater. People have taken them down the Grand Canyon and stuff like that. So
what kind of pressure do you pump these up to? Is it like a bike, like 100 PSI or what?
No, so with these boats, the Refuge and the Wolverine, and we'll talk about the Expedition in a little bit, you really don't want to blow them up to more than you can inflate by lung power, and usually that amounts to about 2.5 PSI is the max they recommend. And you got to be careful when you leave it out in the sun, just making sure that it doesn't increase the pressure too much past that 2 PSI. Obviously, we don't have a gauge on these, so you just have to judge. But really, you can't put too much pressure in those by lung power to where it would be dangerous unless they sit in the hot sun or in a hot parking lot for a while.
And the counterbalance to that is once they get on the colder water, the pressure comes down inside.
Correct. And then you got to give it a little puff to temper the boat. This boat can handle an extra pound or 2 of pressure because it's a thicker material. And in order to do that, Alpaca sells a Pack-a-pump, which is a little hand pump that you can really jack up the pressure. So that's a cool new offering that they have. And the other feature you see here that isn't installed in these other boats is this bow bag. This is a really handy feature that Alpaca sells. Again, it's got this waterproof zipper on it that allows you to store your essentials inside, you know, whether it's your inflation bag, snacks, water, camera, cell phone, maps, anything like that, headlamp, things like that. You could just stick right in there, zip it right up, and then you can keep access to the things you need while you're paddling, because as we said before, storing everything inside the cargo fly, where you're going to keep your pack, your tent, your sleeping bag, your clothes, like your extra day's food if you're doing multi-day trips, that kind of thing. That's all inside the boat and inaccessible without deflating the boat. So anything you want access to during the paddle, really great to have it in this bow bag here.
How many liters does that hold?
This is 24 liters. So I have another one. Yeah, I have another one that's 12 liters. They used to sell them in 12 and 24. They actually discontinued the 12 liter and they only sell them in 24 now. But I tell you, you know, it's an extra step to install this thing. Because really, you know, you want to put it on and take it off when you're packing and inflating the boat. But it's really worth it. This is a really convenient thing, and it means you don't have stuff rattling around in the cockpit of the boat. Right. You want to keep everything really secure. So if you do go for a swim, you're not, you know, yard sailing the river.
Gotcha. And it's waterproof itself.
Oh yeah, waterproof itself, so everything stays dry. Unless, of course, your water bottle explodes inside of it, which has happened to me.
Exactly.
And then
everything falls apart.
Everything is really wet inside.
As a hot tip for packrafters out there, plan on everything getting wet everywhere.
Yeah,
and
always.
plan as such.
Yeah.
Always. There's no dry. It's more gradations of wet.
Yeah.